Hi everyone, my name is Larissa and today we'll be demonstrating how to pipe a rose out of buttercream icing. Did you know that our brains are wired to respond to beauty even in food? Studies in psychology and marketing have shown that we're more likely to enjoy something if it looks appealing, even before we taste it. That's why a simple swirl of frosting can turn a plain cupcake into a showstopper. And nothing says wow quite like a delicate buttercream rose. Today I'm going to show you how to create one of those edible works of art, step by step, so you can impress your friends, elevate your baking, or even discover a new creative outlet. The items that you will need are an icing bag, a coupler, which is this white piece of plastic, and it comes with this O-ring, a rose tip. It's a Taco or Wilton 102 or 104, a rose nail, icing, and a pair of scissors. You will first start out by taking your icing bag and placing this portion of the coupler into the bag. And then cutting the excess off so you just have the coupler. I've already done so in this bag, so if you can see, the coupler is all the way down in there and my O-ring is right here. Then once you've done that, you take the bag and you fold it down like this, and you use your hand to cup it like that, and then you'll take the icing in a work setting, or when I'm doing cakes for people, I'll obviously have gloves on, and then you'll take the icing and you'll put it in the bag, and then I use my thumb right here to scrape off the icing as I'm putting it in. So I've already done so in this bag. So then you take your tip, your rose tip, you take your O-ring, you put the tip in the O-ring, and then you turn it and twist it on the coupler that's inside the bag till it's tight, and then you have your tip attached to your bag. The next step, I take a decent amount of icing that feels comfortable in my palm, and I take it, I pinch it off, and then I twist. And as I do that, I'm building up pressure in this portion of the bag. So as you can see, some icing comes out. That's perfectly fine. You're just gonna scrape that because you always want to keep your tip clean. And you're gonna turn until you have a good resistance and pressure built up in this portion of the bag, so when you squeeze, you can control your icing. You're then going to take your rose nail and you're gonna put a dollop of icing right in the middle, just like that. And then when you pipe, you're always going to keep the wide part of the tip down and the thin part up. So if you look at the tip from this way, you could tell that the bottom part is wide and the top part is thin. So the top part is always going to be the thin part that stays up on top while I'm piping. I'm then going to take my icing and my rose nail, and in this motion while I'm turning with my fingers the rose nail, I'm going to create the center of the rosebud. So then it looks like that. From there, I'm going to create the middle petals, which is a sequence of 3. So I'm going to be going down and over like that. So I'm going down and over and stopping. Then I'm going to go into the middle of this petal that I just piped and do the same thing, down and over. And while I'm doing it, I'm turning my rose nail. And then I'm going to go back into that petal that I just piped in the middle. I'm going to go down and over. So then I've created the center of my rosebud. Depending on how big you want your roses, you could stop there or you can keep going. In this case, I'll keep going to make it wider and bigger. And as I go, I started with my tip like this, and then I'm gonna turn it outward, and that fans my petals outward like a rose would be in nature. So then I'm going to start from the middle of a petal that's already piped, go down, up and over, down, up and over, down, up and over, down, up and over, and then you're going to just keep doing this until you get the size that you want. I'm just going to do a couple more petals, and then I feel like that's a pretty decent size. Then once you've completed your rose, you're going to take your scissors, and this is one of the trickiest parts, and right now since it's so hot my icing is a little sticky, so it may not work correctly, but it's okay, we're still going to try. You're going to take your scissors and you're going to slide them underneath your rose, and then you're going to twist the nail and you're going to get the scissors, transfer the rose onto the scissors, just like that. So now my rose is on my scissors. So then I've piped a dollop of icing on this plate that represents icing on a cake. I'm going to be taking the rose, pressing it down into that icing, and then sliding the scissors away. And that's basically how you would put the rose on the cake. It's okay if it messes up because you can use a leaf to cover it up, and sometimes you could swivel and open and close your scissors to get that rose off and get a good transfer. So just like that, the rose came off. And then these are just a few other examples that I did earlier to show. Piping a buttercream rose isn't just about decoration, it's about creating a work of art, an experience, and it adds elegance, personality, and a homemade touch to your baking. Whether it's baking a birthday cake or a batch of cupcakes, this skill transforms desserts from homemade to heart-made. It does take a lot of practice, so I don't discourage you that the first time you try, if you fail, just keep trying again. It took me years to get down the pressure in the bag and how to move everything at the same time. So it's definitely something that takes practice, but if you are interested or you want to do it, I definitely recommend just keep trying and trying and trying. Just buy a tip set at Walmart, a box of bags, and just keep trying. Thank you. Have a great day.